Welcome to CINEMATICON Ex Mortis with Kenny and
Heather.
We discuss horror movies on this podcast, and today we're talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon from 1954. Some basic facts about the movie. It was released in 1954 in black and white 3D, which is kind of interesting. I think we usually think about the history of movies as like this linear progression from silent to sound black and white to color, and then 3D is like the last stage of that process. But there actually were color silent films and there were 3D black and white films, so it's kind of interesting. The film was directed by Jack Arnold and written by Harry Essex and Arthur A. Ross, based on a story by Maurice Zimm. It stars Richard Carlson and Julie Adams, and features a score by Henry Mancini, Hans J. Salter, and Herman Stein. It has a debatable status in the pantheon of Universal monster movies, as the only monster in the bunch not featured in films from the 1930s and 40s. It was added into this group as a marketing tactic by Universal after the fact. The creature debuted 13 years after the Wolfman, the last of the traditional Universal monsters to appear on film. In fact, a lot had changed since those earlier films. The horror genre had gone into sharp decline after World War II, and by the end of the 40s had essentially disappeared, displaced by newer genres such as film noir. The horror pictures that began to appear in the 50s were quite different. No longer gothic tales of supernatural terror, but sci-fi parables playing on fears of science run amok, well suited to a time when many feared an imminent nuclear war between the United States and Soviet Union. Many horror flicks from this time also relied on gimmicks like 3D to bring in audiences. 1953's House of Wax had begun a short-lived fad for the format. A box office hit, Creature spawns 2 sequels, and a remake or reboot has been in development hell since the 1980s. At one point, Guillermo del Toro was attached to direct, but executives at Universal found his idea of treating the Gill Man more sympathetically and focusing on the romance between him and a woman to be silly, and certainly not something that would win an Academy Award for Best Picture. So, do you want to read off your plot summary, Heather?
Sure. Okay. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Scientists discover the unique fossil of an unknown species, and an expedition to locate the rest of the remains is launched in the Amazon. The endeavor seems futile at first, but a spark of hope is ignited at the discovery of the mysterious Black Lagoon, which may be exactly the place to unearth their elusive fossils. The team discovers far more than they bargained for when they come across not the fossilized remains, but a living, breathing, amphibious humanoid hybrid, who isn't exactly thrilled to see them. The creature has one exception, however, and that is for the lovely Kay Lawrence, who he has taken a seemingly fond interest in.
Great. And we should say we'll be spoiling the conclusion of the film, so if you guys want to run off and watch it, you can do that. Maybe we should also plug our social media and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're on Twitter, you can find us at CinematiconPod. Also, we have an email address, which I forgot. What is it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No one checks it, so don't email us. Just tweet at us, or
just stick
you know what
with
you can
Twitter
do
then.
is also like leave a review on whatever podcasting service
and
you're using.
Subscribe.
That'd be great.
Subscribe to it.
To the podcast, yeah.
Yeah, this is a podcast.
Okay, so getting into Creature from the Black Lagoon, what were your favorite and least favorite elements of the film?
Well, I thought the music was great. I know you probably have like a million things to say about the score. I really liked it. It's really intense. I think they did a really good job with that. Like every time the creature shows up, he's got this theme music that's just so in your face and terrifying. I love the way the creature looks. He looks awesome. He's scary and like so human-like. I'm obsessed with the creature. The creature is my favorite out of any monster movie. He's got the most badass look. I like a lot about this movie. I think the imagery is beautiful. I love all those shots in the water. It looks so clear and good, and it's got that whole Jaws-esque, thing coming for you in the water type thing going on, which is scary, but it's also really pretty at the same time. I love those shots of her swimming, like from below, like you're looking up at her. Yeah, I think that looks so good. I love they did a really good job with all the imagery and, the monster, like, reaching his arm up from the water. They did a really good job of not revealing him too soon.
Yeah.
I really like they built the suspense. I still have trouble with that word.
Better this time, though.
It still sounds so stupid to me. It sounds like I'm like pronouncing it the way British people pronounce things when they're not British, Like there's a
the way British people pronounce things when they're not British. When is a British person not a British person?
Okay, I worded that wrong. I'm like when people are imitating a British verbiage when they're not British. So like there's a part even in the movie where Kay says, she's like, all the research, and it's like okay, you're not British, so it sounds really weird when you do it. It's like that's how I feel when I say suspense.
Yeah, I think you're wrong about suspense. I think it's just everyone in the world says it, suspense, but
it just feels weird to me.
With other words like research versus research, I think you're definitely right. Like Hollywood actors used to have this like transatlantic dialect that didn't really necessarily exist in the real world, but it was this kind of like merging of different accents so it would be intelligible to everyone.
Except that it just sounds so wonky, especially now.
Yeah.
Does not age well. Anyway.
It's part of that, what gives it that old Hollywood charm, though.
True. Yeah. Nostalgia. Other things that I like about the movie. All of Kay's outfits. I spent hours trying to find that white bathing suit. Someone who makes a white bathing suit like that. I really need it. I could go on and
good
on.
Luck.
Yeah.
I was watching one of the bonus features where they talked about how that bathing suit was specifically made for the film. That wasn't something that you could buy in a store or anything.
Oh yeah? Tell me everything right now. That's all you know? That's it?
That's what I know, yeah.
Okay,
they had
great.
a costume designer specifically make that bathing suit. And the actress, Julie Adams, said that it was quite risque for the time because of the way that it's weird. You know how... See, I don't know, like, clothing terminology, but, like...
Yeah, you definitely don't.
You know how there's, like, such thing as, like, a neckline?
Uh-huh.
And you can have like a V-neck or like a neck that kind of like dips down to show more cleavage. It has that with the legs, like the they kind of have this like V shape where they kind of come up to expose more of her thigh.
It's like a high cut bikini line.
Yeah, so it's an interesting design.
It's got a scalloped edge and it's amazing. And I didn't find one, so I'm upset. But yeah, pretty much everything she wears is amazing in this movie. The costumes are wonderful. There's also lots of men in little tiny bathing suits, so there's something for everyone if that's what you're into.
Yeah, the guy is pretty hunky.
I guess.
Richard Carlson.
Yeah, I feel like multiple people in the movie made a comment about what a beefcake he is, including men.
Yeah. Mark's not bad looking, I guess, but he's such a jerk that...
Yeah, it ruins it. Not into it.
So yeah, you picked this one, Heather, and as I can see why, you really like a lot of stuff about the movie.
Oh yeah, I could go on and on about all the stuff I really like about it. So, but I know we're gonna cover more of that stuff later on, so I'm done with what I like about it for now.
Okay. I think I agree with most of that stuff. What about, do you have any least favorite thing about the film?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I gave this movie an unofficial title.
Uh, white people, white peopling.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this movie didn't need to happen. I feel like they should have fucked off pretty early on. It's kind of like that thing where in found footage zombie movies, there's that person who's still filming. Like, these guys should have, like, the first sign of trouble, they should have been like, I don't think this is such a good idea. Like,
We're gonna
maybe
need a bigger boat.
Right. Like, so much unnecessary just carnage occurred, and they could have just packed up and left, and it took them way too long to figure it out. Like, there had been like multiple attacks, and people are just on the boat like smoking a pipe and shit, and I'm like, hello, so
I see. So yeah, they're not really like going into survival mode for a long time.
And they really should
have. Like even when they show up at the campsite, like everyone's been murdered.
Yeah.
And they just start talking about fossils. They're like, where's the rest of this fossil? It's like, what about where's the rest of these bodies?
Multiple murders occur, and like no one's talking about it. Yeah. They just like go on with their day, like no big deal. And I'm like, oh no. Oh boy, I see where this is going. This is every horror movie ever, or white people are white peopling.
Forget about it, Jake. It's the Amazon.
Yeah. And then the one guy really wants to kill the thing, and the one guy wants to keep it alive, and how about we do none of those things?
Well, once they go into the Black Lagoon, then they do try to get back out, but the monster has created like a dam that stops the ship, so...
Yeah, Kay's out there swimming.
Yeah, she's having a grand old time.
Boy. Oh, man. So, there's that, but also, like, that's just kind of how horror movies go. So, there's not much I can say about it. I don't love the whole invading this creature's territory and like basically harassing it and then getting, it's they're mad that the creature's killing everybody, but like, how about fuck off, like, leave him alone. This is his home and you invaded it. So
yeah, so that's kind of a problem in that it makes you not really sympathetic to the characters, which then makes you not care as much when they get killed.
Right. I'm like, well, what did you expect?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel more sympathetic to the characters. The only one I, think is an idiot is Mark.
Mm-hmm. You can't really dispute that.
He certainly is a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite element of the film has got to be the underwater photography.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we should say I watched the film in 2D. Did you watch it in 2D as well?
Yes.
So I don't think either of us has seen it in 3D. So in a way, we're not totally being fair. Like, to be fair and appreciate a 3D movie, I guess you should watch in 3D. But I can't watch 3D movies at all.
Yeah, they give me headaches.
I get a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a fad that I'm glad is gone and seems not to be coming back.
Yeah, I feel like if I could watch a 3D movie, I'd like to see this in 3D. Because it's just so beautiful. But, not worth it.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it was really extraordinary at the time to see the creature reaching out. And there are a lot of like great shots in this where I can imagine what it would look like in 3D. Like there's shots underwater where Mark is like swimming towards the camera with this harpoon pointed at the camera, and there's like bubbles flying towards the camera and stuff. So there's plenty of stuff that would pop out in 3D. But at the same time, I don't feel like it's one of those 3D movies where they go so hard on the gimmicks that it just is ridiculous if you're not watching it in 3D, or maybe even if you are. Like Friday the 13th 3 has like these silly things where like people's eyeballs pop out and fly at the camera and stuff. And there's like random shots where a character has a yo-yo and he's just like yo-yoing his yo-yo right into the camera for no reason.
Okay.
It's not like that. It's not super gimmicky at all. But I really love the underwater photography here. This film, I think, was the first ever to do 3D underwater shots. So they had to specially build the camera that could do that. And the underwater stuff, it looks really good. Like, I'm sure it's not realistic, like in an actual lagoon in the Amazon, you probably couldn't see 6 inches in front of your face.
No.
Whereas here, like, there's a lot of visibility, but it still doesn't look like what it probably is, which is like a swimming pool. It's still, they've got like the seaweed and they've got, enough like occlusion of light that you can believe that you're really where the film tells you that you are. And I don't know. I love underwater stuff, like documentaries about the deep sea and stuff, planet Earth, stuff like that. My favorites are always in the ocean.
Well, that shit terrifies me.
Yeah, it is really scary.
Absolutely terrifying.
Like the fact that you can't see things past a certain distance, so something could be out there at any time.
Hate it. Hate it.
So yeah, I agree with you there. The underwater stuff is really, really good.
Yeah.
My least favorite thing is actually one of your favorite things, though. The score, I think,
it's too much for you. I figure you didn't like it.
There are some parts that I do really like. Like, I think the first big underwater sequence where they go, where I think Mark and David both swim underwater, and they're like, I don't know what the excuse is for them to be looking around. They're looking for a fossil or something, and then the creature like first encounters them down there. And they're swimming around. So that whole sequence, because they're underwater, there's no dialogue. So there's this long sequence where there's just music. And I think that musical suite that plays there, I really enjoyed. It does a great job of creating suspense without being overbearing. But the motif that plays every single time we see the creature, it's like this 3-note thing. And it's so simple, and it just repeats over and over, and it gets on my nerves. I think in a lot of ways you can compare this to Jaws, right? And you've already made that comparison. And I think Jaws shows how you can do something very similar with just the 2-note motif, da 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 da, and it's so much better.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty epic score. It's really hard to compete with the Jaws score.
Sure, of course, yeah. I mean, just because it's not as good as Jaws doesn't mean it sucks.
Right. There's just something about it that when I heard it, I'm like, I bet Kenny hates this. Like the really loud trumpets, I think.
Yeah, it's played by it's a brass thing.
It's very.
Maybe I'll look it up on. I'll somehow download the sound and put it into the recording here.
Okay.
So the listeners can hear just how annoying it is. Just imagine hearing that like 180 times.
It's going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really liked it when he's coming out of the water and it's just like so loud, and I liked it. I don't really care what you think, so. I
don't know. Maybe if there were more motifs than just if they didn't rely so heavily on that one. Like I'm thinking about the Bride of Frankenstein score. It has a similarly like very strident theme for the creature. It's like bum 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 bum. It does that a lot, but there are themes for other characters too. There's like the bride's theme, and there's other motifs, and I think they're they're woven together more subtly in the score. And part of that might be that this was scored by 3 different people. They kind of like cut the film up into different scenes and assigned them to different composers, and then there are even other scenes where they just use stock music and stuff.
That would
So
be
it's kind of a
tricky.
patchwork score.
Yeah.
But they insisted to the composers, like, you have to use this theme every time the monster appears, so they had to find a way to use it. But anyway, so I guess that's my pet peeve. But yeah, I mean, this is a great film overall, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
So to go back to the beginning of the film, it opens in an interesting way with an authoritative sounding narrator guy describing the evolution of life on Earth from sea to land dwelling creatures. This device strikes me as a sort of quintessentially 1950s way of opening a science fiction film. You could see it in so many films. Like, if you watch Mystery Science Theater 3000, they watch a lot of B science fiction movies from the 1950s, and sometimes the narrator just won't go away. Have you seen the episode where they do the Creeping Terror?
Yes, Kenny, we watched it together.
Okay, yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Like, the entire film has the narrator. Like, then Billy said to Jack, and then we get the next line of dialogue. Then Jack went away. It's like, could you go away, narrator? Like, what?
Like, we can do it.
We don't
it's
need
fine.
you to tell us. Yeah, like, we can see what's happening. You don't need to narrate every single thing. But the 1950s, for some reason, they just loved having these, like, stodgy sounding narrator voices. And here we get it at the beginning, but then he never comes back. So what did you think about that?
I mean, I don't really care either way. It's fine. I don't think it's necessary, but it was a popular thing to do. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think you could cut it. It's not necessary for establishing anything, really.
Yeah, it does nothing
Like,
for the film at all.
Yeah, because he's telling us how life came from sea to land, and how in certain places of the world there might still be remnants of that earlier stage of life. But then one of the early scenes in the film has David showing us a lungfish and explaining to the other characters pretty much the exact same thing. So they already had that concept in the script. It's like doubling up on that exposition.
Yeah. Well, they thought it was super cool or added some level of something.
I don't know. I guess what it's trying to add is more like believability. Like, this is a very strange concept. And I feel like one of the things maybe that this film's trying to deal with is the change in public expectations for movies, or the public taste in horror movies since the older Universal films. Because basically what happened was 1941, you have the Wolfman, and that was the last of like the original monster movies, like that introduced a new monster. And then throughout the rest of the 40s, you had a series of like team up type movies. You had sequels to the various monster franchises, and you had these like combination films like Frankenstein meets the Wolfman and The House of Dracula, where, you know, the poster says Dracula, Frankenstein, a hunchback, all in one movie. And those just got sillier and like campier. And then they just became complete comedies with the Abbott and Costello. The Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, Abbott and Costello meet the Invisible Man. There was a whole series of those where they were just comedies. And so it seems like the monsters that had been frightening to people in the 1930s and early 40s, they increasingly turned into objects of ridicule, and they just became sort of silly, you know, kind of like they are to us now, you know, with like Count Chocula and the Count on Sesame Street and stuff like that. The Munsters, the Addams Family. And so by the 50s, it was like maybe Universal, the executives or, you know, the screenwriter felt like we need some way to make this not silly, to make it more believable and seem more like scientific as opposed to, you know, the magical stuff like the Wolfman. So maybe the beginning sequence is like, it's the format of like showing us this footage that's supposed to represent the early stage of the Earth with the narrator guy talking over it. It's like a documentary, and the 50s was like the time for like didactic filmmaking that tries to teach you things with like this narrator guy talking at you. Again, I think of like Mystery Science Theater, like all the different shorts that they have where it's like
Yes.
how to have hygiene or dating 101. It's like this weird, like they would show these, I guess, before movies as these like PSAs. Maybe, in that cultural context it makes more sense.
Yes, totally. That's why I was saying like it was a popular thing to do at the time. I think it's something that we just aren't capable of really understanding because we weren't around back then.
Yeah, to us, I think the fact that it lasts 30 seconds is like the best thing.
Oh yes. I was like,
whereas,
like it started happening. I'm like, oh, it's one of these. Okay.
Yeah. So another common sci-fi trope that we see here is the idea of a remote part of the world being frozen in time so that prehistoric monsters can still exist there. We get a lot of that here, both in the opening sequence and then later, like I said, with David displaying a lungfish and saying that it was a dead end in nature's attempt to get life out of the ocean and that it hasn't evolved in millions of years. He says that by way of explaining how it's plausible that something like the creature from the Black Lagoon might exist. So some other examples of this would be The Lost World and King Kong. Those both have islands where dinosaurs still exist. Do you have any opinion about this sci-fi trope and the way that it's used in Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Well, I love that trope in general. I love imagining that there's places in the world that have like prehistoric creatures that just have been untouched, sort of like in the deep ocean, maybe. Even though I'm terrified of the deep ocean, I kind of like to believe that, well, I believe in the Loch Ness Monster, so this would support that theory. So I'm a fan. I like it here, especially. Yeah, I love the creature. I love the creature. This is my favorite Universal monster. So yes, I'm in.
I think I'm going to go with the con position on this.
No. Boo.
I'm not a fan of this trope. I like dinosaurs as much as the next person and giant apes and other things like that, but I just think it's nonsense. Like this idea that certain places are trapped in the past and they haven't evolved, I think it's really kind of a troubling trope, because what are these places? They're the jungles of Africa or South America or Papua New Guinea, and I think it really comes along with colonialist ideas about how certain people are primitive and backward, and they haven't changed for millions of years either. It's just nonsense to say that those cultures are like locked, they're trapped in amber and they haven't evolved. Like, of course they've been evolving, but they just haven't figured out the same technologies that other cultures have. And I think the same thing about biology. Like, the lungfish hasn't evolved in millions of years. Like, no, of course it has. It's just certain body structures are really well suited to its environment, so those haven't changed. But I'm sure that the species itself has changed.
I mean, I wasn't really listening because you're so boring. So,
I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that this is like a colonialist film, and you could read the creature as standing in for not just the.
Oh, it's the palm.
Why did you do that?
Bad girl.
Let's see. What were we talking about?
We're talking about how you have no color or joy in your life.
Hmm. Well, it's very true. This film also doesn't have any color.
It does not.
Uh, Literally or figuratively, right? Like we're here in the Amazon, we don't see a single native person.
No, not so much.
So that's part of why I think the monster might be standing in for that to an extent.
I get it. I get the metaphor. I see what's going on here. I'm with it.
Yeah. Which you kind of already expressed how you felt sort of troubled by that.
Yeah,
right?
white peopling.
Yeah, like the characters are going into his world. I guess my point is just part of that is their judgment that he is backward and he is a relic of a former time, and hasn't evolved the way that he should have. Whereas really, the creature has evolved just like we've evolved. It's just he's evolved to suit his environment, which is in the Black Lagoon,
right.
And we've evolved to suit ours. You know, it's like neither of us is in the past.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Which maybe connects to another question that I had, and this is like not a question I have an answer to exactly. Although I don't know, maybe this is the answer. Is that why is it that they always assume that there's just one creature? I always found that bizarre. Like they start, having people picked off by the monster, and they always assume it's a creature. It's like, why would there just be one of him?
Well, that sort of relates to something that upset me when I was watching it. Like in the beginning, the scientist guy, he's like trying to remove that hand out of the rock, and he kind of starts chipping away at it a little bit nicely, and I'm like, okay, good. And then he kind of just rips it out of there, and I'm like, oh my god! Like, how do you know there's not more in there, Like, he just, like, grabs it by the wrist and yanks it out, and I'm like, oh, like that. I feel like that was not protocol at all, and, like, how do you know there's not more body parts in that rock? Like, that was another assumption that someone made that I don't feel was very good.
Yeah. Well, and then he leaves, and then he comes back with more people to try to find the rest of it. You'd think he would just stay there and keep looking for the rest of it.
Yeah,
I don't know why he had to go.
That was a question that I had, and I'm like, did I miss something? They're like, oh, well, time to go over there and look over there, and I'm like, but what? Okay. I
mean, the people he gets aren't archaeologists, right? They're ichthyologists.
Yeah.
They're specialists in marine biology. So it's more like he needs someone to help him make sense of what he's finding.
That makes sense.
But you'd think he would then like get archaeologists to dig it up and then take it to the marine biologists in the institute, as opposed to making them come out to the middle of nowhere where the thing was found.
Yeah, well, I think we could probably pick things apart like that all day, and there's not any point.
Sure. But anyway, I just think it's kind of funny how they assume that there's just one creature. Like, maybe they've seen the title of the film.
Yeah, they clearly, they're like, oh, creature. Okay, got it. No, that doesn't make any sense.
Like we were talking about, like, they already have this mindset that, this is a being that should have gone extinct millions of years ago. So if there is one, it's like the Loch Ness Monster. It's like the last of a dying breed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I mean, that
would be pretty damn lucky that they happen to go to the Black Lagoon during the lifespan of the single last surviving, member of a species.
Yeah. So, okay, it is what it is. It be like that.
Yeah. So, you just said it's your favorite Universal monster.
Yeah.
Do you think that it makes sense to group this film with the other Universal monster movies?
I mean, it is a Universal monster movie, is it not?
I mean, it is a Universal movie that has a monster.
Yes.
But, I mean, there are Universal movies that have monsters in them from every decade, right?
Yeah.
There's, like, you could say Jaws. is Jaws a Universal monster movie? I mean,
No.
it is, but it is a movie that was distributed by Universal that has a monster, but it's stylistically and in terms of the broader themes, it's not really in the same category.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
I think
I don't know.
I think this movie belongs in that category. So
Okay, so what are some things that it has in common with the other ones?
I kind of feel like it follows the formula. You know?
Which is,
Well, I mean, they're not all exactly alike, but it's like this misunderstood monster,
yeah,
and it's
the sympathetic monster.
Yeah. So I feel like in broad strokes terms, it's on par with the rest of them.
Yeah, so you got the sympathetic monster. What else do we have?
We have the pretty lady that it wants to, I don't know, keep.
Yeah. Yeah, the monster sort of develops feelings for Kay.
Uh-huh.
That's something that would often happen in those older films.
Yeah.
And
it's afraid of light and fire. Like
that's true, it doesn't like fire.
So that's similar to Frankenstein's monster.
Mm-hmm.
He also like holds his arms out like that. Like,
he's like kind of
he
a
comes,
slow,
like,
lumbering creature
over.
when he's on land.
There's a lot of similarities between this creature and Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Yeah, you got the scene where they like put him in a cage, but then the cage can't hold him, which is similar to like in Bride of Frankenstein when he's in the jail cell.
Right.
And then he just rips out of his chains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I agree with all that. Some stuff that's different though. I mean, just the cast and crew is totally different. So that's one thing, is like those older films we were talking about, how they often share the cast and crew. Mm-hmm. So you'll see the same actors popping up over and over, the same directors.
Well, I guess they offered the role of the creature to the second guy who played Frankenstein. What's his name?
Glenn Strange.
Yes. And
I don't think he was this. Well, he could have been the second. I'm not sure.
Oh well,
I know Bela Lugosi played him in at least one film.
Maybe he wasn't the second. He was after Boris Karloff. So I just,
Yeah.
But he said he like couldn't swim that well, so he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that."
Yeah, and I think there are two different people who play
the
creature in the movie. One when he's on land, and one in the water.
Yes.
And it really is an impressive performance when he's underwater, because the guy didn't have like an oxygen tank in there. Mm-hmm. There's no place for it to be in the suit. So he's just got to be holding his breath.
I can't even imagine swimming with that giant suit on. That would be so heavy and so hard.
Yeah, and scary. Like, what happens if you run out of breath? Like, you have to not only make it to the surface, you probably have to get that helmet off your head.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's a horror movie in itself. Ugh.
But even with all that, he swims very gracefully.
Yeah.
Like the suit, it's on land. It looks pretty bulky, but that's fitting because this creature is at home in the water, and when he's in the water, he's quite graceful. So the suit allows for a lot of articulation, a lot of movement.
Yeah, he makes it look easy, and I can't imagine it is. So he did a really good job.
Yeah, and some other things. I mean, I talked about already how it's more of like a science fiction. I mean, the Frankenstein films are sci-fi too, I guess. But this whole idea of like going out into the wilderness and finding some creature and having all the main characters be scientists, that seems like more of a quintessentially 1950s thing to me than those older films.
Do you know what this movie reminds me of?
Yes.
You do?
No, I don't know. What is it?
Oh, I figured you probably could guess, honestly.
Well, we said Jaws.
Oh. I was gonna say The X-Files. Specifically the episode The Host. The Fluke Man.
So, what do you think of the gender politics of this film?
Well, early on in the film, I'm like, oh, God. But that's another one of those things that's just in old movies. Like, pretty much any old movie is going to have that. And it's just another one of those things that I kind of just sweep under the rug. And I'm like, well, if I hold it against all these old movies, I'm not going to have anything to watch. So I kind of just...
So you feel like it's pretty regressive?
Oh, it's terrible. It's ridiculous.
So how so?
Well, like you wrote in the notes, they were like, should she come? Like, that's stupid. The whole, like, romantic subplot is stupid.
Well, so Kay is... She's also a scientist, right?
Yeah.
But she seems to spend most of her time doing less sciencey things than the other characters. Like, she's kind of
They make her seem like
going
she's
swimming.
She's like a research assistant, but her main goal is to, like, get married.
Right, yeah. They have that conversation where she's really trying to get...
Yeah, and it's that same old trope where it's a woman who's, like, trying to talk a man into getting married, and I just, like, I, like, gritted my teeth together really hard, and I'm just like, oh, God, you know? So, it's ugly.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, when they decide to go to the Black Lagoon, it's Richard, the hero, who says, well, but hold on, would it be okay to take a woman into a dangerous place? And it's Mark, who is the bastard, who says, oh, she can handle herself. So I think in a modern movie, those roles would probably be reversed. You know, it would be the bad guy who has the more paternalistic, sort of condescending attitude towards Kay. So there's that. On the other hand, Kay really can kind of handle herself. Like, she's not... I don't know, there's a certain stereotype of women as being, like, feeble and cowardly that doesn't fit Kay.
Right.
She's totally, like, gung-ho and adventurous and everything.
Yeah, she's doing better than most female characters of her era.
Yeah, and if you look back at the other Universal monster movies, the female characters, I think, are less active in the story.
They're basically just used as props, almost.
Right. And that really only happens to Kay at the end of the film, when she really gets damseled. She's being carried around.
She damsels real hard at the end there, because there's that scene where she's, like, she's sitting by the water, and she's, like, facing the water, and the creature is clearly coming up behind her, and it's, like, shuffling all slow, and she doesn't even notice that he's there until she turns around and screams. And it's like, how did you not hear that or see that? Or it takes him 45 minutes to walk 3 steps, so I don't know what's going on there. And I'm just, it was hard. But, you know, you kind of have to just throw that in the pile with the rest of the horror movie tropes that piss me off and everything else. So I'm not gonna waste a lot of time obsessing about it. It's unfortunate, it's bad, it's in most movies, whatever.
Is there some greater significance to the conflict between David and Mark, in terms of the movie's themes, or is that just sort of there to create some conflict in between monster attacks because something has to happen in the movie?
Yeah, I'll go with option B there.
Okay, well, I guess I'll say that there is some significance to it.
Okay, enlighten me.
Well, I think as much as I think David's ideas about evolution are pretty off base, which is, you know, par for the course in the time period, I guess. He's like more of an idealist when it comes to science. He really is kind of like a a funny. He's a funny guy. He's really interested in outer space.
Yeah, they bring up outer
Did you notice
space
that?
a lot, and I'm like,
Yeah, like he keeps talking about how like we really gotta research this Gill man because pretty soon we're gonna be on Mars, and it's like, what?
yeah, yeah.
What the hell? What does researching marine life have to do with space exploration? But he brings that up several
Yeah,
times
he
as
really
like a really
does.
good. It's a really good argument in his mind. Um, and this is like this is way before the moon landing, right? That was in 1969. So
Yeah, well, this is
um,
like when the Jetsons was around, and they really thought like we'd be in flying cars and
yeah, he's really
kinds of shit.
thinking. In our lifetime, there's going to be human colonies on Mars and
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff, and so we have to get ready to breathe in space.
Right. So
And
this is
what better way to
obviously.
do it?
It's like he doesn't. He's super interested in space, but he also hasn't done any research on space. So I
Right.
don't know where he's getting his information.
But it's kind of cute, like the way he thinks about science. Like, it's for the betterment of humanity. Like, humanity is going to encounter new problems as technology advances, and by studying the natural world, we can help the progress of humanity. And also, it's just, you know, neat to study animals. And so, um, that is in contrast with Mark's outlook, which is basically like, I want more money
Mm-hmm.
and I want more fame and exposure. And he's like the what's his name in King Kong?
Well,
Denham,
sure.
the director guy, right? He just wants to exploit this thing to the max. And so it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, a lot of movies from the 1950s are thinking through the role of science in modern life, right? Because like science had advanced so amazingly in the last say 50 years. Like in human memory in the 1950s, we had gone from horse and buggies to just about being ready to travel to other planets.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, everybody's living in fear of a nuclear holocaust, right? Like this is the era of those videos that show you how to like get under your desk so that the nuclear explosion will just hit the desk
Oh boy.
and you'll be fine. Believe us. And
Oh.
people are like building fallout shelters and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So science is like this terrifying thing, but it's also what the entire economy is increasingly built around, this continual progress of technology. And so there's these very hopeful visions of the future, and then also the possibility that it's going to destroy us all. Which I guess we're kind of just used to that now. Like
Oh
that's just
yeah.
what life has
That's
been
called a
now.
Tuesday.
Yeah, but back then it was very novel, and so there's a lot of movies from this time period where people are thinking through the role of science in society and like what science should be about. And so I think that conflict between these characters is kind of about that. Like, is science going to just be run by capitalism for maximum profit at all cost, and or is it going to be more in the hands of people that are trying to aim it towards away from a nuclear holocaust or something terrible or the destruction of nature? It's more towards the betterment of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I guess, uh, I mean, Mark gets himself killed, right? So his egotism is self-defeating, but then they do just kill the monster at the end. So,
Um, I like to believe that he was resting.
well, if you watch the sequel, he was resting.
Good.
He got shot like 10 times, but
He was,
he got better.
you know, he was like, I'm tired. I'm just gonna float here for a second.
Yeah, in the sequel, they basically bring him back and put him in like SeaWorld, and then he escapes.
They
and
fucking
attacks
would.
people. Yeah.
They would.
So you said that the Gillman's your favorite monster.
Mhm.
What about the creature design here is interesting or cool?
I think the Gillman is gorgeous. Just absolutely gorgeous. It's hard to say realistic, because, like, it's not a real creature.
That's your favorite word.
Is it?
Yeah, you always, whenever you say you like anything, you always say it's realistic.
Well, maybe I don't really mean realistic. I mean, I don't know what I mean. But if a Gillman existed, wouldn't it look like that? Like, if you saw that thing coming out of the water, you would think, that's a creature. That's not a man in a suit.
Well,
don't
yeah,
you ruin this. Don't you dare.
He is a guy in a suit.
I know, but he doesn't look like it. That looks like a real fish man.
Yeah. I do really like the design as well. I think I like how they didn't make him look too human. Like his face.
Yeah.
Like he's got like fish eyes.
Yeah, his eyes are one of the best parts of his design.
Yeah, and I love how in close-ups on his face, they made like a special rig where the gills kind of fan open and shut, and he's got like his eyes are all kind of liquidy. Like it looks, his face kind of like moves around the way that like a fish out of water would kind of gulp and stuff.
There's something very haunting
really
about
cool.
the way his mouth opens and closes and stuff. It's like very creepy. And they did a really good job of not making him like make any weird noises.
Yeah.
If you did something, like if you gave him like a weird like squeak or something, the movie would be ruined.
Like,
right. So it's good that he's like pretty quiet. It's scarier.
Silent but deadly.
Yeah. I just think he's gorgeous.
So you put a note here that you wanted to talk about Millicent Patrick.
Yes. So Millicent Patrick is the woman who did the original design for the Gillman, like his look and everything. And so she was actually the first animator for Disney too, female animator for Disney. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah, super cool. So she worked at the Universal Monster, like behind the scenes in like the creation department for them. And they sent her out on tour for this, and they had this whole the Beauty Who Created the Beast thing. And her boss's name was Bud Westmore. He was like the head of that department. And she was getting so much like praise and attention that he got jealous and fired her. And he wanted to take all the credit for that. So he just had her removed, and then he got the credit for it, which is like super fucked up.
Yeah, because he was the one who's like running the whole department, but he acted as if he had designed the creature,
right?
When actually she did that.
Yeah, and I just want to be sure that we give her some credit, because if she hadn't made this beautiful design, we wouldn't have this amazing Gillman. So I think it's just terrible that she got yanked out because she was getting all the attention for it.
Yeah, and in a way it's ironic too, because in the movie, one of the things David says about Mark, the bad guy, is Kay is like, well, he's made a bunch of great discoveries. She's like defending him. And he goes, well, he's taken credit for a lot of discoveries that his researchers discovered. And it's like, so Mark is one of these asshole guys who's like running the department, and so he's got all these researchers working for him who actually do the stuff, like Thomas Edison, and then he just takes credit for all and claims that he discovered everything. And it's so funny that like that's the villain of the film, and then behind the scenes the exact same thing happened with the creator of the creature.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That's wow. It's heavy. Wow, fuck.
So, life imitates art, I guess. I guess we should talk about what we're going to watch for next time.
Well, unfortunately, that's up to you.
Yes, and I've decided that we will watch It Follows,
Oh,
2014.
okay. Well, that's good because I've already seen that. We watched that together, so that's not super daunting. Cool.
All right. Well, we'll see you all next time, or you'll hear us next time.
That's
I
right.
don't know what's a good sign off.
Uh,
How have we not figured out any of this? We're like 13 episodes in.
I don't know. I don't have any idea what I'm doing, so.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.